Nearly 50 Kansas hospitals are at risk of shutting down. A recent report shows it's one of the highest closure rates in the nation. Keith Grant has a look at what those hospitals bring to the state. Keith?
Rachel, there's quite a few numbers here that the Kansas Hospital Association released today. First, though, hospitals bring 325,000 jobs to the state and $23 billion in income. The Kansas Hospital Association says hospitals are the anchor of towns. That report highlights 3 key points. Hospitals attract new businesses, they help retain existing ones, and they create local jobs. Many hospitals, though, are on the verge of closing, and without federal funding, the association says local dollars attempt to keep hospitals afloat.
So we may not be tapping into those federal funds, but to subsidize what we're not getting to help cover the uninsured, we're tapping into local funds like tax support to help keep our hospitals open.
Now, Kansas would get those federal funds through Medicaid expansion, which has failed to pass multiple times in the Kansas legislature. Mike?
Keith, thank you. Tonight, you're